Welcome to the Sober Unicorn. We are a gay-hosted, all-inclusive podcast about sobriety and addiction recovery for the LGBT plus community and all of our allies. I'm your host, Holden, and thank you for joining us today. Hey, everybody, it's Holden back here again with the Sober Unicorn. I hope everybody's having an absolutely incredible day. If you're not, hope your day gets better. You don't ever hesitate to reach out to me here at the Sober Unicorn or any of the guests that have ever shared their social media platforms on the episodes. So today we are being joined by a TikToker. Um, I believe we just kind of followed each other. I liked the content he was putting out, the sober content. He comments on one of my videos, and I just messaged him. I was like, "Hey, you want to come on this podcast and like just talk some shit?" And he agreed. And so everybody say hello to Brian. Hello, Brian.
Hello, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I am fantastic. I just finished a 3-mile walk and to get my day started, and I did it faster than I've done it in a long time. So feeling good, feeling groovy.
3 miles. That no, nope. That is
Could have
just
gone more too.
that is just way too far for me. But thank you for coming on, and why don't you kind of like tell everybody kind of a little bit of your story on like what your addiction was like and what got you into recovery, and then kind of what led into you living out loud with your recovery on TikTok.
Okay. I'm Brian. I am 46. So to be stopping right now is at 45 was a pretty far-fetched idea, but I didn't start drinking until I was 18. I grew up in church, and that was like a no, no, no kind of thing. And outside of the Bible or whatever my parents told me, I didn't really know why. Like, okay, that's what I'm supposed to do. But Memorial Day weekend, yeah, 1995, I got myself kicked off for what we had senior skip weekend, where the seniors skip and we went camping. And camping was basically drinking cases of beer and smoking weed and just bullshitting around, grilling and listening to music and chilling. But then I went to college and became a regular party guy. Within that, I finished college, which was cool. Got married, great, had kids, still was a drinker, but I was a pretty heavy drinker. And it was something that I never wanted to quit, or I thought it was a problem. And then I moved from Michigan to Arizona, and it became a bigger problem. Bigger responsibilities and jobs, trying to handle kids and do all that shit too. And I started, I think in 2020, 19, started having seizures that were related to, I didn't know if they were related to alcohol. They didn't know, but I had a seizure. I was out, uh, just out with friends or colleagues after the school year. I'm a teacher guy, and teacher hoot and howl. And that should have been a signal for me, but it was not. And I kept doing the things that I was going to do. And yes, there was pain and destruction within that in the family, trauma caused, I know, by me. Then the pandemic came. Ooh, pandemic. I got COVID. I was in the hospital. I almost died. They clapped me out, all that kind of stuff. And I would cling on to, yeah, I was there for COVID. However, in order to get to the hospital, I was driving down the road and had a seizure. And that day I was supposed to get a vaccine, I believe. And that's where I was. That's where I was going. I wasn't drinking that day, and I think I had a withdrawal or a withdrawal seizure because I was like, "I'm not drinking. I'm not doing that." So I had a seizure driving. I didn't. I crashed my car just off the side of the road, and they said, "Dude, your blood pressure is bad, like low, low, low," and they're like, "You need to go to the hospital." So I go to the hospital, and they're like, "Your liver is terrible. Your kidneys are shutting down. You're going to, you're in a lot of trouble." And then the COVID stuff happened within that, and I was intubated and whatever. So it was sort of a combination in the hospital. So then I get out, I'm sober for a little while. I'm like, yeah, I'm not. Yeah. But then I started drinking again. And October of 2022, last year, I really was just fucked up all the time. COVID took my taste and smell. Well, with alcohol, that ain't good because I would just sit here and slug straight 100 proof liquor, not taste it, not feel it until I was feeling it. And I was just a fucking mess. I'd lost my job as a principal at an elementary school, and that sort of amped things up too. But as a teacher, I was teaching at the table during the pandemic at my kitchen table, and I would be able to drink there. Like, I'm drinking at work, but I was at home. So I had all these new loopholes. And in October of last year, my daughter, my 21-year-old, she's like, Dad, I will take you to the hospital. And I checked myself in to get help. And since then, I have not had a drink since October 15th, 2022. And I woke up this morning to 8 months of sobriety. And I am honestly,
Congratulations.
thank you. I am honestly living my best adult life that I could be living. My body is healthier, my brain is clear. I think my family knows that I'm doing this forever. And there's just been changes in the family overall. I just got a new job that I wasn't even expecting, to be honest. I wasn't even going to look for those jobs in education anymore. And boom, here you go, Brian. And I start Monday. That's where I am. But if it hadn't been for my daughter getting me in to the hospital, I would never have gone to IOP after that and done that and focused on that. And IOP was fantastic. I just finished that last Monday. So that's really my story. My wife was, I guess, ready to leave back in October or September or whenever, and I didn't even know that until after I was out of the hospital. That's how severe we've been together for our 23rd anniversary is on Saturday, and we almost didn't get there because of my choices, but that is
And
not
people
the fucking
people
case.
do not realize how incredibly dangerous alcohol withdrawals can be. Like it's
Yeah.
alcohol, I believe, in benzos that are the two withdrawals that you can actually die from. And because alcoholism, seizures ensue, and tremens, and everything, delirium, and it's
Yes.
insane on how dependent our body gets. And anybody listening that may have kids as well, most people use their kids as an excuse to not seek out treatment, to not go to rehab, to not seek out some type of PHP or IOP. And it's like, trust and believe, like your kids know that you're drinking. Your kids know that you're fucked up. So it's like, if
Yeah, they
especially if they're teenagers or even young, like 10 years old, I mean, by that point they know what's going on.
I
And
think
it's
my youngest daughter has said she thought my natural breath was peppermint schnapps.
I
Uh,
mean,
90 proof, by the way.
peppermint's not the worst thing it could smell like.
No, it's not. It's gum. That was if you chew on mint gum, then it's you think it's a good disguise, but no.
Yeah, and that's crazy that you're 8 months. I just yesterday was my 6 months, the 14th.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's so weird that like I had 9.5 months prior before suffering relapsing, and this time around is just like maybe because I'm more dedicated to it or something, but it just seems like so much more different this time. So, of course, you're 8 months clean,
Hmm.
and your family's supportive. I mean, do you find like, especially your daughter's 21, so the thing is, does your wife and daughter drink around you, or
I have three daughters and my wife, and I have said to them, "This is my thing. You do what you want to do. You know what the end game looks like on this side, and if you want to go down that path, that's your choice. That's what we've always told our kids. We've given them the freedom to be themselves, and same thing goes with my wife. She has not stopped drinking. However, she's made some pretty significant changes, and because what was hard for us was we were drinking buddies. We were drinking buddies. We were BFF. We are BFFs, but we were drinking buddies. And when your drinking buddy drops out, then you're left, I believe, from what I've seen in my experiences, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of why the fuck am I doing this? And we went to a concert the other night, Erica Badu, and it was so dope. But the best part about it, my wife went sober, and that was huge for me. I don't even think she knows how big that was for me. But to be out at a place where everybody's drinking and everybody's smoking weed and everybody's, you know, doing what they do, which is totally fine. She didn't. And I was like, damn, maybe this outside of me is more important, and I don't have to do anything except for be myself. I don't preach. I don't do any of that shit because people that do that, that's a turn off.
It
And I don't
is.
want to turn off.
I mean, I live out loud with my recovery, but it's like I still have so many people in my life that use or drugs or drink. I mean, yes, the people that use drugs, I keep at a distance. I do because, but the thing is, that's their choice. If they want to keep continue to shoot up heroin, if they want to continue to get blacked out drunk, I'm not going to judge them because eventually, I'm hoping that at one point in their life, they're going to hit a point where they're like, okay, it's finally time for me to get clean and sober, and hopefully reach out for some help. But yeah, no concerts, man. Like I remember going to my first sober concert, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't, I think it was Cannibal Corpse. I absolutely despise metal music, but my sponsor was like, "You have to come," and I was like, "Okay, fine." But it was nice to be able to be present in the situation, go
Yes.
home at midnight, still get up for work at 6 a.m. the next day, not be hungover, be able to recall everything that happened and not be like, well, shit, did I do anything stupid? Like, did I make out with somebody that I shouldn't have? Um, because
Yes.
I mean, gay people, we tend to get a little crazy,
It's
when we
me here
drink.
on the hetero side. But
So,
I 100% agree with you. My first concert was Elton John, and my first sober concert was Elton John, and I love Elton John. You know, I love the songs, his music. I've been listening to him probably since the time I started drinking, and and he has his own story, you know, and it was fantastic to be, like you said, the word present, to be present for it and remember it and feel it. And I can still feel it today when he was singing I'm Still Standing. And that was like a big song in our house. But even after the concert the other night, just to be able to wake up and be like, that was so fucking dope. and
mhm.
and be able to feel that together was pretty remarkable.
So what made you choose to kind of be so public with your recovery like you are on TikTok?
Um, I felt like going to I tried AA meetings and stuff like that. And I felt like the minute and a half or 2 minutes that you got was sort of bullshit to share. I needed more time. I needed more time. And I didn't always want to talk about the topic that they made you talk about. And if you broke the rules within that, and I'm not trashing AA, no, no, that's helped a lot of people. It's helped a lot of people. But I was like, fuck this. I would listen. I listened to the stories, and I was like, why can't I tell my own story? And in education, when I was a school principal, that was a big thing for me was teachers, tell your stories of who you are, where you came from, what you're about, so that your colleagues and your students and your families know who you are. And because teaching's a grind. Teaching is a motherfucking grind. And it's worse now. But that's a different podcast. Um, I I had been using TikTok just for, during the pandemic, like everybody else. I wouldn't do the silly dances, but I would do them on my own. Baby, come give me something. Like, all that shit. And then I became a really good griller during the pandemic because I would watch these dudes grill. And I was like, why can't I do that? And I was freshly out of the hospital and couldn't really move much, and my body had been beaten up so badly by what I did to alcohol, with what alcohol did to it. And I thought somebody's got to be out there in the world that has a similar story. And then I started finding the sober side of TikTok. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's a whole community here of people like me, and they're not afraid to share. And I'm not really afraid of shit except for roller coasters. And I was like, why not share it? And I started, I think right around that. I know I was doing it at Halloween. It was maybe around when I went to that Elton John concert in the 20-day area, and people started talking to me, and people started replying, and people started encouraging, and people started saying thank you. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I just kept going, and I really don't script anything out. I just sort of talk from where I'm at, and like I'm doing right now. And it has been therapeutic for me. uh I do it for me. I know there's people out there, but I do it for me because it prepares me to have conversations like this. If there is somebody on the fence, if there is someone who's struggling and they think they're so far in the fucking depths of it, I should not be sitting here. I should not be talking to you. I have brushed death way too many times over the last few years. And if I calculated it all, my drinking life, that I should not be sitting here with you. And that's why I share, because you can get out of this shit. And it takes a lot of fucking work. That's the thing that people don't know. It takes a lot of work.
Oh my god, that's for damn sure. And I think what's so important too with like with TikTok is I try to do like the comedy portion of sober talk with my videos. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'll wear wigs and try to make fun of the stupidity that was addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just because like we all have a story of like how fucked up we were and stupid things that we did, but it's like at the end of the day, like it happened. There's no point in like dwelling on the trauma that we endured. And it's nice to know that like this funny video or just talking and just being vulnerable with people online can help that one person say, you know what, if this dumb bitch can do it, so can I. And
Yes.
then it's like people with a little bit of long-term sobriety, like I look at people with 20 years, I'm just like, holy moly, like if that person can do it, so can I. But then the moment that the newcomer comes in and they're like 48 hours clean and they're still withdrawing and they're fucking fighting just to have another hour of not picking up or using or drinking,
Mm-hmm.
that gives me now motivation of like, you know what? Like, I've been clean 6 months. Like, this little breakup or this like rejection from a boy should not take me out. Like, look at this dude here. He's like sitting at this table withdrawing and he's making it work for him. Like, I mean, unlike you, I'm a 12 stepper. Um, and but I do get what you're saying with the limitation of time allotted to you during a meeting. Um, Personally for me, I go to meetings normally just to listen
Mm-hmm.
because I don't feel that my shit's that interesting to
Yeah. After a while, it's not like, yeah, I don't do that anymore.
exactly. And I
I don't,
mean,
and I don't want to go back in time and like tell all these fucking stories of. I don't dig that.
well, and what's weird is what I now recommend to people. So the most therapeutic thing I would say I've ever done in my journey was write my book. So I wrote a book. It's at an editor now to be edited before getting published, but it's like it was insanely therapeutic to like write this thing out from like childhood to today, and it helped me recognize why I drank, why I tried to run, and why I was what I was hiding from. And so I recommend journaling to a ton of people.
Hmm.
Just journal what you're going through. If you're feeling like drinking or picking up a drug, like write it down on why you want to do it. What are the feelings that you're going through? What caused those feelings? Stuff like that. And like the next day, read back through it, and you're just gonna be like, "Damn, girl, that wasn't even that bad." And you wanted to go get some liquor. So,
You're
so
right, though. I
mhm.
100% agree. I keep a journal that I got in the hospital when I checked myself in, and I'm still plowing through it. And I also took on a therapist through my IOP. I had a therapist who was trying to help me through one of the online ones, and honestly, she's been fantastic. And I got hooked up with some other folks, and I'm a person who I like to do homework. When they give homework, I'm like, hell yeah, I'll get on the Google and find out about it and read, and I try to apply it to my life. And I know everybody doesn't do that. That's because I'm just me. I think that's the teacher in me. I like to learn. And I've
School or
learned,
no fucking school, kid or adult,
yeah,
it's always gonna
yeah,
be have some fucking
exactly.
homework.
My little tagline on things is learning is important. And I have learned through this process so much about my body and what what alcohol was doing to my body. It wasn't just fucking up my brain, or I'm sorry, it wasn't just fucking up my liver. That's what we think. Oh, it's just messing up my liver. No, once it starts messing with your liver, it starts messing with this and that and this, and it affects your brain and it affects everything you're thinking about. And I didn't know that. I think I made a TikTok last year, and I was like, they didn't tell me that in drinking school, but it was like but they don't. When I grew up, I just sounded like an old man there. When I grew up in the '80s, and it was don't do drugs, don't do drugs, don't do drugs. But there was never a why. It was just like, if you do drugs, you're going to die. And that was Nancy Reagan's message. If you do drugs, you're going to die.
Well, with
And
fentanyl now, that I mean, she rings
that's
fucking true.
I know it's a real thing for a lot of things. And I wish they'd said the same about alcohol. That's why I stopped, because I really was like, I had a seizure in the classroom with my kids, and I'm thankful that I had a teacher assistant who was a paramedic. And I'm also thankful that my wife worked at the same location and was right there and knew what was going on. But I really did feel like one of the next seizures I have is going to be right here,
Hmm.
going to take out my heart. And there's no coming back from that. And I got these 20 something year old women to still be dad to. And I still have my wife, who I get get to, I use a lot now, get to be husband to, and I'm still get to be a son and a brother and all of that. And if I choose alcohol, I'm choosing not to have any of that anymore. And that's a pretty daunting thing
Oh yeah.
to and say, gone, 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 gone. And the pain that, if I did die from this, how fucking stupid is that? How fucking stupid would that be? With all the knowledge and all the shit that I know, all the stories that I've heard. One of my goals, I have three things that I pledge to every day, is number one, I'm not going to die from alcohol. Number two, I want to watch my kids grow and do whatever the fuck they want. And I want to be there for it. And thirdly, I want to be loving to my wife. When I was drinking, I would be an asshole to her. I wouldn't be an asshole to anybody else, and I don't know why. I don't know why. I'd be the coolest cat at the party, or the coolest cat when I'm just chilling and drinking, but I would just be so fucking mean to her. And that's not what you do to your best friends. It's not what you do to
Exactly.
your best friend who loves you more than anything in the world, and I had to make that change.
No, 100%. Like laughing at the you can't have this take you out. I mean, it's not a funny situation because alcoholism does kill many, many people every day, but there are so many resources out there now. And it makes me laugh that we choose to not seek out resources and not seek out help, and we slowly kill ourselves if we continue to drink.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hilarious how there's so many things in this world that could take us out. Tigers, lions, bears, oh my, can kill us. But yet we're gonna allow something as simple as a liquor beverage or a bottle of whiskey to completely annihilate and destroy everything we know as a human. So going, of course, when people get clean and get sober and everything, everybody seems to find like a new purpose in life. And so now that you're 8 months in, like what is your purpose now being somebody that's sober?
I have done a lot of work on this because I really didn't know. I've been a career educator, like I said, for really my adult life. And that's what I was always driven by, the next thing. Like I started off making 20 some $1,000s a year as a teacher. Yeah, exactly. With a family. And I wanted to move up in that system. That's how I was trained. Like that's how you went to college, you got your degrees, and you got jobs doing that. That's what we were supposed to do, and I did, and I did it pretty successfully, and I did it with a extra friend, alcohol, and without that, and having not been in the places in education that I've been, because it's been messy over the last 4 years with the pandemic and everything, I just came out with a new purpose out of that hospital of whatever I do. Doesn't have to be education. Whatever I do next as a job, whatever I do in my family, whatever I do in my life, I'm dedicating and focusing on joy, whatever that is, because I'm that guy. Outside of the drunk party fun, Brian, I am, take away the drunk, I'm still the fun guy. I'm still a great guy, I think, and I'm not. That's humbly saying that. Humbly saying that. I have fun. I like to find the joy in things. I'm a positive person, and the world we live in right now, there's so many negatives here, there, and everywhere that I don't want to play into that. And I'm a black man, and and there's a lot of those negatives. I'm a black male educator, and a lot of the things that are happening in our country right now are very focused on me and my children, my daughters. I have 3 daughters and a wife, and a lot of the stuff that's happening in our world is focused on all of us. It's attacks on our family, and I could come out guns ablazing, fuck you, like eat a dick kind of shit. But at the same time, I don't feel like that's going to move anything forward. And that's what I want to, that's what I feel like I've been charged with, is move life positively forward for yourself and others, and you're going to make the difference in the world that you want to, whether you are a principal of a school like I have been, or whether I am cleaning up the sauna at a gym, and that's my, whatever it is, I come in and do my job. I do it with a positivity that people know and understand, and when they ask, I talk about it. I talk about my story, and it opens up this door of, oh, and my dad struggles with this, my husband struggles with this, my boyfriend or girlfriend or my partner, whatever it is. And that's that connection, to that, even if it's for a moment of time, one day, 1 hour, 5 minutes, that if that guy can do this, the people that I love can too. And I don't advertise, I don't do anything like that. I just put it out there because I'm alive to do it.
I think that's like the main thing that I've always noticed across anybody in recovery. I mean, of course, we all have our hiccups and our bad days and stuff like that, and we have sometimes a pessimistic look about things. But like overall, I would say people in recovery have a lot more appreciation for what they have in their life. I mean, I had a friend that lost his job, has an apartment, all this stuff, and he's just like, it's okay, like I'm fine, like it'll take care of itself, like I'll handle it. Like this motherfucker could lose everything in the matter of like a month's time, and he's just like so nonchalant. Like even myself, I moved to Florida, I uprooted everything, and like a month, oh, it was about 2 months in, um I quit my job. And I am educated, I have an extensive background in management. Like jobs just were not coming in like I expected them to.
Hmm.
And I was like a month, a little bit over a month without work, but I was like, you know what? It's okay. Like I'll get a job when I meant to get a job. And the thing is, the job that I got like fell into place at the perfect time, the exact moment I needed it, and with a good pay. And like, so the thing is like, if I was panicking and freaking out, I would have probably taken a job that was a shit paid just to be able to get by and not gotten the opportunity that I have right now with the company that I'm with. And so I always try to remain very positive about everything that goes on in my life, even though sometimes like it's a shitty situation. But
Yeah.
the thing is, I mean, it could be a lot worse. I mean, I have to look at it as like I have a roof over my head. I have a car. I am able to feed myself very well if anybody's seen what I look like. Um and the thing is, so when I look at somebody else and I'm like, I wish I had that, somebody looks at me and wishes the same exact thing. So I need to
Hmm.
be appreciative. And purpose, like, I don't know if I found my purpose yet. Like, but part of my purpose of recovery is like to let other people know they're not alone. And that's why I've
Hmm.
developed like the podcast, the platform. And I mean, and if anybody's listened to a ton of my episodes, like y'all know that I don't turn this whole podcast into this is the Holden show, because it's not, because so many other people have stories to share and experiences to get out there, and hope to give to somebody else that may be struggling. And so I just made the fucking platform and give other anybody really an opportunity to come on and share. So
Yeah.
before we end the episode, is there anything that you haven't shared that you would like to?
Uh, as I was thinking, I was really thinking we need to ride this good wave. The wave of stigma that has changed over the past 4 years with mental health and just how I think a lot of the stuff that might have been simmering in people came out. And it's more accepted now. Like looking at myself as an alcoholic, I don't look at it and see despair and tragedy, which is what has been portrayed in TV and movies and the things that we see. And it's not, it's just regular folk like you and I who do regular things during regular days, have regular moments, and we are those people. We represent, you know, so many people that we don't even think about that don't have that energy to to speak it out loud. And I would hope that people would want to be able to do that more because it is more acceptable to say, yeah, I'm an alcoholic, but I'm in recovery. And here's how I did it. Instead of, you're an alcoholic? Oh, I'm gonna go over here, which is how it has been in the past. And especially for myself growing up in church, that is 100% how it was. And that's just shameful behavior that I I don't subscribe to anymore.
Which is hilarious because I recently started trying to go back to church. It didn't work out, but that's okay. But the church that I was going to was like promoting drinking. They were doing like a Bible study, and they're like, "Oh, it's beer and Bible night," and I was like,
Okay.
"Okay, alrighty then." And the thing is, though, I think they like the church that I was going to is also one that holds, I think it's like 70 different meetings a week for recovery in their
Okay.
buildings. They have everything from AA to NA to CMA to CAA to SLAA, like all kinds of recovery meetings. And so, but it was just weird that it was like beer and Bible. I was like, okay, when the hell did these two start mixing?
Talk to me a couple of years ago, I'd be like, sign me up, Jesus. I'm in. Pass me. I fuck beer. I got liquor. I'll pour it.
Exactly.
I'll pour it in a beer bottle just just to praise you. Yes, bring it on.
Oh, that's what I loved my Yeti for, because I would fill that bitch up with ice, some vodka, and I would just sip on it all day long.
Yep.
Um, so if anybody like resonated with your story and wants to reach out, like what social media platforms can they find you on?
You can find me really. I mainly am on TikTok at Teacher Hoot and How. Uh, I can't even spell that right now, but I got the name from a buddy of mine. We were teachers together, and there was this bar called the Hoot and How. That was we'd go there every Friday, have some beer and wings, and we were just bullshitting a number of months ago. Now he was helping me he took me to court because I couldn't drive, and we were just throwing around ideas, bullshit. And I go, yeah, we should make up a podcast called Teacher Hoot and How and just talk about our teacher stories. Because, like with recovery and teaching, you could write a whole volumes of books. And I wrote it down in my journal. And then I started TikToking, and I changed my name to that, and I was like, let's go. And that's how I got to be that. So you can
So
find me.
I was gonna say I'll plug it in the description of the episode, so you don't
Yeah,
have to worry about spelling.
yeah. But that's where I'm at, and my link tree is there too. That has, I think, my Instagram and my Twitter and stuff like that if anybody's interested.
And
But
he probably means a PG Twitter, okay, people, so don't get crazy.
yes, my Twitter is focused on a lot of education stuff. That's where I do my education platform.
Awesome.
So,
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Brian.
hey, thank you for having me. I really appreciate that.
Thank you again for listening to today's episode. Hit that follow button to be notified about new episodes every week. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can find us on Instagram at The Sober Unicorn Podcast or on our website at thesoberunicornpodcast.com. There you will find our episodes as well as our very own sober-owned shop featuring products from small businesses that are sober-owned. And remember everyone, don't be normal, be a unicorn, but better yet, be a sober unicorn.